So welcome to Beneficent, folks. My name is Josh, your #1 resource for lake trout on the YouTubes. Today we're on Lake Winnipesaukee, and I'm going to discuss my favorite baits for Lake Winnipesaukee. And I designed these with some help of an old friend of mine, and I was buying them at stores and they kept selling out and they were really hard to find, so I started making them myself. So I make them myself. If you do order from the website, it takes me like a week usually to get them shipped out to you. But what we're using today is the very successful Winni kit. Now this comes with 5 jigs and 3 different color plastics, so it comes with a total of 40 plastics in there. Double of the white, and then we have chartreuse, and then we have glow. And they're little tiny 2-inch paddle baits. And the reason for that is because a lot of these lakes, especially in New Hampshire, are smelt-based lakes. So our forage in these lakes only get about 2 inches all the way up to like 10 inches at the max for a large rainbow smelt. And right now we're using LiveScope XR. You don't need to use XR. It's just a really nice gadget to see how many lake trout are down there. And I have a lot of wind here today, unfortunately. So I'm spot locked here. And there's about, I don't know, 24, 25 lake trout on the screen right now. They're not huge. Every once in a while, a big one will kind of like sneak into the small ones. But these are my favorite baits for Lake Winnipesaukee. I mean, we did really well last year with them, and the year before. I got one coming up to me right now. Got him. And so that's the classic chase. And I have Copper with me today, who is a Labradoodle for those of you who are going to ask. He loves to lick fish, so we're gonna try not to get him to do that. And right now that lake trout's it's actually burping, which is what they do to expel their gases so they don't get barotrauma. And so we let him burp for a second, and then we kind of yard him up here. And these lake trout are a few years old. They're not super big. But they are super, super fun midsummer. And right now we're getting towards the end of August here. Things are starting to cool down. We had a water temp of 71. Super pretty fish. That's about your standard size for Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire here. It's got a head of a bigger fish, but he's working on the rest of his body. I don't know how long that is, but I have a bump board. I just haven't got it out yet. One huge advantage of these baits is they work on every species here in Lake Winnipesaukee. I've caught salmon on them. I've caught rock bass. I've caught smallies. I've caught hundreds of lake trout on them. I've caught perch, I've caught white perch on them. They really, really work well. And it's just like the favorite bait for Lake Winnipesaukee. It's the forage that matches in this lake. Now, if you're interested in something that's a little bit bigger, I do sell the big bait kit, which I'm not gonna pull out right now, but it's for bigger fish. It's got a 3/4 ounce and 1 ounce jigs for bigger fish. Now, you could put a bigger jig down there. You will get ignored almost 50% of the time, maybe even 80% of the time. It's very annoying, so they'll just ignore you the whole time. So we're dropping down right now. We're at like the 80-foot mark. It does take a little while. I know there's heavier baits out there, 1 ounce and 2 ounce baits that work. They just ignore them more often. Like, this is more patience on this end while waiting for it to drop than having them ignore it and trying to get a reaction bite out of them. So yeah, we're about to hook another one here. Oh, he turned off at the last moment. Should drop it back down. And what we can do is we have a school that's, being a little finicky here. This fish just turned around on again. We can just move school. So we have a school 60 feet in front of us, 60 feet that way, and then we have another one that's 60 feet behind us. So we can literally just move around. This is like kind of a community fishing hole. And there's fish all over the lake. I've probably done 15 or so, well actually probably more than that, 25 or so miles today. And there's fish all over the place. But we had a bunch of wind that came through and kind of blew me off one part of the lake, so this is kind of sheltered where I am right now. We're about to leave these fish and go find some other ones, but we have some fish coming in, and it takes too long to redrop, so we're kind of just waiting. A lot of these fish are just kind of chilling, and we're gonna go towards that mess of them right there that are at 60, 80 feet. And we'll catch a couple more, and then we'll head home. Chances of catching a big one here are, you know, not giants, but you know, the 26, 27, 28 inch range is possible. And what will happen is the fish will kind of figure out that they're under attack from somebody, and they'll just kind of shut off after like 1 or 2 fish. Or what they'll do is they'll get even more fired up and they'll get it easier to catch. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 on the screen, give or take, which is pretty good. And one thing about these baits is the head glows in the dark. It's a kind of a super glow or a highlight glow. And then there's one type of my baits that do glow, and that helps at 120 feet. There's no light down there at all. So they're either going by feel, like noise, or vibration of that little tail. Just got one to engage with me, and there's a gazillion literally right behind me here at 20 feet. Kind of right over here, actually. Oh, I got 5 of them chasing it now. Oh, dang it, I messed them up. Couldn't see my jig there for a second. There's 3 fish that chased up and one overlapped my jig, and I couldn't see there for a second, so. And I've tried using a bigger bait on these fish today, and they just won't eat it. So here's a couple of them right now. This one's hot. Oh. So he possibly could have just ripped my plastic off. And what I'm gonna do, is I can rip up and feel it. I'm using a Shimano Expride rod. It's a very sensitive rod, 15-pound Power Pro braid. So they do that. So there's a huge disadvantage of using plastics is they can pull them down. But there's one huge advantage of using plastics is I've seen a lake trout bite into like a hard bucktail and spit it out because they realized it was a hard bait and not soft feeling to their mouth. 100% saw it on AquaView underwater camera. It was pretty epic, actually. Oh, why are you being so finicky today? Come on. So I like, personally, increasing pressure, which is like bluebird skies. I do not like decreasing pressure, so we're in decreasing pressure right now. Really? I mean, barely, guys. Absolutely. I think he just got too close to the hook. Like, he was not eating that at all. It's a 2500 Vanford Shimano. Oh, and it was a nice one too, you little dink. Oh, he chased it 40 something feet and then he gave up. Snap. So annoying. All right, so they are 95% committal. So what I'm gonna do is give them a little bit of scent. So I use what's called Spike It. The label's gone off of this. But it's garlic scent and chartreuse. And you don't want it on your hands unless you want to smell like garlic for 4 days. And like I said, 15-pound braid, 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. I have had them bite right through 10-pound. It's really annoying. Just doesn't seem to work sometimes. Most of the time, actually. Right now the bite's off. I mean, they should be all coming after me like this. No, it's perfectly fine. We're gonna move a little bit and then we're gonna drop down one more time here. We caught a few lake trout. If you want to see more lake trout content, please click here or here, because I have lots of lake trout content, jigging, bigger lake trout all over the place. So I will see you on one of those next videos. And if you want to get your Winni kit or smelt kit or the big bait kit, there's a link below for bennetfishing.company.site.